reckless breach of international law. Those are the comments of the British Foreign Secretary after the forced diversion of a plane carrying a Belarusian activist on an internal EU flight yesterday. Now, Belarus forced the plane, which was bound for Lithuania, to land in Minsk, claiming a bomb threat to the aircraft. It arrested the Belarusian journalist and activist Roman Protasevich. And Irina McLean is from Belarus but lives in Edinburgh. Hello, Irina.
Hello.
Your reaction to what happened?
Unfortunately, John, I do believe that everything what happened meant to happen because the world needs to react. It's almost the last straw because this terror and this autocracy and utopia will go on. And Europe and the world has to react now because the conspiracy of the whole situation and also what people are going through and taking Roman off the plane potentially to be sentenced to death. We as a democracy in Britain, we can't stand and watch this happening.
Irina, then, I think you're protesting just now. What do you want the British government to do?
I agree with Rab's statement today and the decision to avoid Belarusian airspace to keep passengers safe is the right one. Also, Belarusian airline Belavia's operating permit must be taken away because this is dangerous. Not just for Belarusian citizens inside the country, but the whole world. Just
describe life in Belarus. You've got friends there. You talk to them all the time. What is life like in Belarus?
Full of fear, unpredictable darkness. Tomorrow, not knowing if your child who might be wearing the wrong colour of a scarf or a skirt or a T-shirt, if your child will come home. We don't appreciate what it's like, and it's still Europe. And unfortunately now we choose to ignore it, but we can't anymore. It could go further, and we've seen that yesterday.
Irina, thank you for talking to me. Irina McLean from Belarus lives in Edinburgh. Let's talk to Elena Korosteleva, a professor of international politics at Kent University. Elena, thanks for talking to me. And we heard Irina there describe some of the actions she'd like the UK government to take. What actions can countries take against Belarus?
Well, I agree with some actions that Irina mentioned there. Especially, I would add to them maybe targeting the sponsors of Lukashenko's regime. The European Union, for example, has gone now through 3 rounds of sanctions. But I believe those sanctions are not enough. They're very light sanctions, and we need smart sanctions that could target Lukashenko's sponsors, you see, from where and from whom he gets his money. But I'm not so sure about, for example, cancelling the Belarusian national carriers, simply because then it means that the country will be totally isolated. And what is important is to ensure that people in Belarus are not left alone in their despair. And they do live in despair at the moment.
I guess the question, Elena, is would Russia have known about this?
Well, we can only speculate, of course, at this stage, but I believe there are signs of Russia's involvement, and even from the point of view that Lukashenko really felt emboldened by going internationally, because, I mean, what we saw yesterday was actually international piracy, if anything. So I believe he made this decision not by himself, not alone, and I believe he was supported by Russia in his actions.
Well, Elena, the editor-in-chief of RT, they broadcast in the UK, said she is envious of Belarus after the hijacking and said President Lukashenko was conducting himself beautifully. Do you think countries should examine whether it's okay for such a broadcasting company to operate within their boundaries? Us, for instance.
That was absolutely a ridiculous statement. And what is important at the moment, I mean, what this incident, this international terrorism, state terrorism, which Lukashenko displayed, is very important to. It brought to the attention the actions of the president and these actions, because it not only no longer concerns people in Belarus who presently suffering beating, detention, concentration camps that for the first time have been erected in Europe since the Second World War, but it now basically no international citizen are now safe, as the accident demonstrated yesterday.
So how do you think this will end then for the activist Roman Protasevich? He said, didn't he? He was threatened with assassination. So in terms of how this will end up for him.
Roman, who's, if you just think about it, he's only 26 years old, and he was charged with several terrorist claims in absentia. Now, obviously, the Belarusian authorities managed to get hold of him, so at the very least, he could get 15 years in prison. Or potentially capital punishment. And Belarus actually is the only country in Europe that still exercise capital punishment.
Elena, thank you. Elena Korosteleva, Professor of International Politics at Kent University. Thanks for your company. Drive.
It's good. I'm going to have to redo that because